It could be any day. And finally, in Mooseburg, we were told about a week before, Patton is approaching probably 100 miles away, and when he gets here, they'll probably overrun the camp and blah, 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 and he'll be free. As it turned out, that took place on the 29th of April, and we were told the day before. We could even hear the artillery fire by then, so we knew they were coming. And boy, that morning, we could see the battle. We could see the tanks out there fighting each other, and they told us to get on the ground. Get yourself killed inside the camp. Get out of the way. Lay down on the ground. Get out of the way. So we were all doing everything we can to find a secure place, and they did. They fought, and pretty soon it was all over. And Patton's tanks just ran through, just walked over all the barbed wire, ran down all the fences. And some guy in a tank stopped within about 50 feet of me, flipped up his lid, and the commander, and he yelled, "Anybody from Texas?" Man, I said, "Me, buddy." So I went racing over to him. I asked him, "What's your name?" He said, "Earl Cook." And he said, "What's yours?" And I told him, I said, "What'd you say your name was?" He said, "Earl Cook." I said, "Earl Cook?" I used to work with a young lady in Dallas. Her name was Ione Cook. He said, "That's my sister." I said, "My goodness, unbelievable." He said, "Wow." I said, "You're going to get home before I do. If you beat me home, would you tell my family that you found me? And I'm okay, and I'll be home soon." And sure enough, he did get home before I did, and contacted my family and told them he had found me, and I was being repatriated and all that kind of stuff, going to eventually to a camp and Lucky Strike and all that to get on a boat to come home. So he beat me home.
And you saw him after the war?
I saw him after the war.
Times.
Yeah.
Okay.
He lived in Dallas. Yeah.
So after that, then, when the tank came, you were essentially.
Yeah, we were actually free, but see, you didn't know what to do, because here there's probably 100,000 guys in that camp. That was Americans, British, and a lot of others been captured even in Africa. Some of those. So we had all plus Russians. We had a few Russians, and so you said, "Well, when am I going to be?" Well, my idea was they told you to stay in the area where you get some food. Well, of course, from this tank, the fellow that I said that found me, he gave me a 10-in-1 ration, buddy. You think about that, what that was. If you know what a 10-in-1 ration is, it's kind of like a pack of everything you'd need to eat for 2 or 3 days. So I had food. So we decided, my buddy and I, we want to get out of that camp, take over a house. So we took over a German house in the little town, and where the house was, the Germans had blown the bridge across the river called the East Saar River, and the tanks had to wait to get a new pontoon bridge across the river so they could pursue the remnants of Hitler's outfit. This was about the 30th or 30th day of April, or maybe the first day of May. And we'd taken this house over. Well, they waited there 2 or 3 days until that bridge was laid to get across, and there I was in a hotel right there watching all of this. And Mr. Patton, I saw him no closer. He was close to me in that bar right there.
And
how one and only time I ever saw him.
How did you celebrate that then?
Oh, we went crazy. Just even finding anything you could get to drink when guys were hunting stuff from the Germans. Give you something to drink, and they'd even do that. The Americans, they were scared of the Russians. See, they were really scared of that. So if you're American, like the lady of this house, when I told her I was going to take over the house, she says, "Welcome, no Ruski, no Russians." So she fed us 3 meals a day. We had a feather bed. No kidding.
Amazing.
So I spent my last few days there until I was repatriated right there.
Have you ever been back to there? That house?
I've never been to that. I'd like to go back and see if that house is still there. Of course, I doubt that it is. That's 60 some odd years ago.
And then how much work was there still to do in order to get out of Germany? And
Well, it was kind of difficult because we had to wait to be flown from there. They had to send airplanes picking up. I don't remember how many thousand Americans there were, but getting them out of there, it took me about, I'm going to say it must have been 10 days at least to be put on a plane, and they flew me to France, and from France they put me on a train from Reims to Le Havre, you know where Le Havre is, and they had a place they put you in, it's called Camp Lucky Strike, which is where they repatriated all the prisoners in war, most of them that went through there, and they checked you over physically, started feeding you, and all that kind of stuff. And
all along this way, were you all looking at each other?
oh yeah, everybody looking at you, just trying to find people you knew and all that kind of stuff. But you knew then eventually you're going to get to go home, so you sweated out from that point to time you get to go home. So that was about let's see, May the 15th, 14th. See, I didn't get on board the ship till about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later.
And was the party still going on that ship then?
Huh?
Was the party still going on that ship?
With what?
On the ship back to America, was the party still going on?
Oh yes, yeah.
Celebrations.
Oh
still
yeah,
raging?
yeah. Hoping you could get anything to shoot craps with, or play cards, or get a beer, or whatever.
And what was the first thing you did when you actually got home then, when you got back?
To States,
Yeah.
called home. Told them I was here. And I'd be home as soon as I could get there.
Did you ever think you were never going to, when you were in that camp, did you ever think you were never going to hear your family's voice again?
And no, I always believed that I would get out. I always, like I said, I was optimistic and believing I'd get out of there quicker than it happened. But like I said, everyone who followed me had the same theory that I did. They always knew the war was going to be over soon, but how soon that was is never as quick as they thought.